Michael Thompson froze at his Mercedes door. A small figure crumpled on his mansion's snow-covered steps, a girl, maybe 5, blonde hair matted with ice. "Sir, my mom is still missing." Her voice cracked through blue lips. "Please, I don't know where else to go." He checked his Rolex. 6:15 a.m. Board meeting in 2 hours. "Call the police, not me. They said she probably just left me." Tears froze on her cheeks. But Mommy would never. She thrust forward a crumpled Polaroid. A woman in a janitor's uniform, hugging the same child. "She cleans your building, Thompson Tower, night shift. She's been gone 2 whole nights, and I'm so scared and hungry and..." The girl's eyes rolled back. She collapsed. Michael lunged, catching her skeletal frame before her head hit stone. Her skin felt like ice. "Stay with me, kid," he whispered, running toward his house. "Don't you dare give up." Mo Konharbiuvan. Leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments, along with the city you're watching from. Now let's continue with the story. 10 minutes later. Emma's eyes fluttered open on the leather sofa beside Michael's fireplace. His chef, Maria, knelt beside her with warm soup and bread. "Drink slowly, sweetie," Maria coaxed. Michael sat across from them, phone pressed to his ear. "Yes. Send a private physician to my house immediately. Child, approximately 5 years old. Severe hypoglycemia. Mr. Thompson." Emma's voice was barely a whisper. She pushed herself up, hands trembling around the soup bowl. "Did you find my mommy?" "Not yet, but I will." He ended the call. "First, you need to tell me everything. When exactly did your mother disappear?" "Friday night. She left for work at 10:30. Emma's chin quivered. "She always comes home by 7 in the morning. But Saturday, she didn't. I waited and waited." Michael checked his watch. "Sunday, 6:45 a.m. That's 48 hours. I called her phone 100 times. It just goes to voicemail." Emma fumbled in her small backpack, pulling out an insulin kit. She opened it with shaking fingers. The case was empty. "Mommy needs this," Emma whispered. "Every single day. She has diabetes, type 1. She showed me how to check, see." She held up a glucose monitor. "She needs her shots or she gets really, really sick." Michael's blood went cold. He grabbed his phone, typing rapidly, "Diabetes type 1 untreated symptoms timeline." The results loaded. His eyes scanned the medical websites. Without insulin, diabetic ketoacidosis within 24 to 48 hours. Coma possible after 48 to 72 hours. Fatal if untreated. 48 hours had already passed. They had maybe 24 hours left. Possibly less. "Emma, listen to me carefully." Michael knelt before her. "Your mother works at Thompson Tower, my building. You're absolutely sure about that?" "Yes, she cleans the offices. Night shift. She talks about it all the time, says the view from the 60th floor is beautiful at night." Michael dialed his assistant. "David, I need you to pull employment records immediately. Jessica Carter, janitorial staff, night shift. Find out when she last clocked in." He put the call on speaker. The sound of typing filled the silence. "Sir, I have her time card here. She clocked in Friday at 11:00 p.m. But..." David's voice dropped. "She never clocked out. According to the system. She's still in the building." Emma gasped. Michael felt his pulse quicken. "That's impossible," Michael said. "Security would have found her during rounds." "Sir, Night shift only has 3 guards for the entire tower. They do floor checks, but not every room, every night. Michael was already moving, grabbing his coat. Emma, come with me. We're going to my building right now. But what about the police? Maria asked. The police already dismissed this as a runaway mother. Michael snapped. We don't have time to convince them otherwise. If Jessica's in that building and she's been without insulin for 2 days. He stopped, seeing Emma's terrified face. We're getting her out now. The drive through snow-thick streets took 18 agonizing minutes. Emma sat in the back seat, clutching her mother's photo, lips moving in silent prayer. Thompson Tower rose before them, 60 floors of steel and glass, reflecting the gray morning sky. Michael's building, his empire, and somewhere inside, a woman was dying. They rushed through the main entrance. The lobby guard snapped to attention. Mr. Thompson, we weren't expecting you this early on a Sunday, sir. I need access to basement level B3. Immediately. The guard's expression shifted. Sir, B3 is under maintenance. Mr. Hayes put in a lockdown order Friday evening. No access until Monday morning. Richard Hayes, Michael's operations manager. I'm the CEO. Override it. I can't, sir. Mr. Hayes has the only authorized keycard for B3 this weekend. New security protocol. He said it was for asset protection during the system upgrades. Michael strode to the elevator bank, swiping his executive card. The panel for B3 lit up red. Access denied. Board authorization required. What the hell? Michael swiped again. Same result. Emma tugged his sleeve. Mr. Thompson, Mommy told me something weird that night. She said, I saw something strange tonight. Sweetie. But don't worry, Mommy will fix it. Michael's jaw clenched. He pulled out his phone, dialing Richard Hayes. It rang, and rang, and rang. Voicemail. He tried again. Nothing. The guard shifted uncomfortably. Sir, is there a problem? Michael stared at the red light on the elevator panel. B3, lockdown, Jessica's last known location, Hayes, unreachable. His phone buzzed a text from David Sir. I checked Hayes' calendar. He took personal days Sat Sun. His home address, 47 Ashmont Street, Quincy. Michael grabbed Emma's hand. We're leaving. But Mommy's in there. Emma pointed at the elevator. And the only man with a key to reach her isn't answering his phone. Michael's voice was ice. So we're going to find him. As they rushed back to the car, Emma whispered, Mr. Thompson, how much time does Mommy have? He didn't answer. Because the truth, 24 hours, maybe less, would break her. And somewhere in that locked basement, Jessica Carter's body was slowly shutting down, organ by organ, while the clock ticked toward a deadline neither of them could see. The GPS said 15 kilometers to Quincy. Through the thickening snow, Michael pushed the Mercedes as fast as he dared. Emma buckled silently in the back seat, staring at her mother's photograph. What if Mr. Hayes isn't home? She whispered. Then we make him come home. But when they arrived at 47 Ashmont Street, Michael's stomach sank. The 2-story colonial sat dark and silent. A black Range Rover parked in the driveway, undisturbed snow covering its hood. He pounded on the front door. No answer. Peered through windows. Lights off. No movement. This doesn't make sense, Michael muttered. His car's here, but maybe he's sleeping. Emma offered. Michael tried the handle. Locked. He walked around to the back, Emma following in his footsteps through the snow. The back door had a simple lock. "Mr. Thompson, we can't just break in," Emma said, eyes wide. "That's illegal." Michael looked at her, this 5-year-old child who'd been alone for 2 nights, whose mother was dying in a locked basement, whom the police had dismissed. "Your mom's life is more important than the law right now." He grabbed a rock from the garden, wrapped it in his scarf, and smashed the window beside the door handle. Reached through, unlocked it from inside. They entered Hayes's home. The kitchen was pristine, unused. Mail piled on the counter, Friday's date. Michael moved through the house, Emma close behind. "Mr. Hayes," he called. "Richard, silence." The home office was on the 2nd floor. Michael pushed open the door and froze. Papers everywhere, files scattered across the desk, a laptop, still open. Screen dark. He pressed the space bar. The screen lit up, no password required. Email inbox open. Michael scanned quickly. Contract negotiations, vendor communications. Then his eyes caught a subject line: Project Phoenix, final docs. He clicked. The email opened to reveal attachments, bidding documents, government contracts, numbers that made Michael's eyes widen. $50 million. But as he scrolled deeper, something felt wrong. Signatures that looked traced. Certification documents with mismatched dates. Cost estimates that didn't align with Thompson Industries' standard rates. He falsified these. Michael breathed. Richard submitted fraudulent bids. Emma was searching through the trash can beside the desk. "Mr. Thompson, look." She held up a crumpled paper, a handwritten schedule. "Friday, 11:00 p.m. Silence the witness. B3 below it." Scrawled hastily, J. Carter. Michael's hands shook as he took the paper. Jessica. Jessica had seen something, had witnessed Richard's fraud, and Richard had silenced her, not killed. Michael forced himself to believe, just imprisoned until Project Phoenix went through. He grabbed a USB drive labeled Phoenix Backup from the desk drawer and pocketed it. "We have evidence," he said. "Now we call the police." He dialed 911. "This is Michael Thompson, CEO of Thompson Industries. I need to report a kidnapping. One of my employees, Jessica Carter, has been illegally detained in my building by my operations manager." "Sir, slow down. Do you have proof of this kidnapping?" "I have documents showing motive, fraud, and a schedule explicitly mentioning her name and location." "Sir, breaking and entering to obtain evidence makes that evidence inadmissible. Where are you currently?" Michael hesitated. "That's not relevant." "Sir, did you break into someone's home?" Emma tugged his sleeve, shaking her head. Michael ended the call. "They won't help us. We're on our own." He quickly photographed the documents with his phone, downloaded files from the laptop to the USB drive, every piece of evidence he could grab. Then he heard it. A car door slamming outside. Michael rushed to the window. The black Range Rover's driver door hung open. Fresh footprints led away from it toward the house. "He's here," Michael whispered. "He's been here the whole time." The back door, the one Michael had broken, crashed open downstairs. "Who the hell is in my house?" Richard Hayes' voice boomed. Michael grabbed Emma's hand, pulling her toward the bedroom closet. "Stay here. Don't make a sound." "But, please, Emma." He closed her in and stepped into the hallway just as Richard appeared at the top of the stairs. Richard Hayes was a tall man, mid-40s, with silver hair and a face that had always seemed pleasant in board meetings. Now it was twisted with cold fury. "Mr. Thompson, breaking into my home. How disappointing. Where is Jessica Carter?" "Who?" Richard's smile was ice. "The janitor. How should I know where the help goes on their days off?" Michael held up the USB drive. "I found your fraud files. Project Phoenix. 50 million in falsified contracts." Richard's expression didn't change. He stepped forward calmly. "That's stolen property. You just committed corporate espionage, in addition to breaking and entering. Shall I call the police, or would you prefer to leave quietly?" "Not without answers." "You want answers?" Richard moved closer. "Fine. Yes. I adjusted some numbers. Yes. I ensured Thompson Industries won certain bids. And yes, your little cleaning lady saw documents she shouldn't have seen Friday night." Michael's fist clenched. "What did you do to her?" "I made sure she couldn't talk until the contracts were finalized tomorrow. Monday morning, the board signs off, money transfers, and then I'll let her go. Simple business. She has diabetes. She needs insulin. She could die. Not my problem. She should have minded her own business." Michael lunged forward, but Richard was faster. Stronger than he looked, he grabbed Michael's wrist, twisting it, sending the USB drive clattering to the floor. Richard's shoe came down hard, crushing it. Plastic shattered. The drive split open, internal components scattering. "Good luck proving anything without evidence," Richard said. The closet door burst open. Emma ran out, small fists pounding Richard's leg. "You locked my mommy. You're a bad man." Richard looked down at her, face devoid of emotion. "Little girl, you should teach your mother not to snoop where she doesn't belong." Michael shoved Richard away, scooped Emma up. "We're leaving." "Yes," Richard said. "You are. And if you come near me again, I'll have you arrested. I have security cameras that clearly show you breaking into my home, assaulting me." Michael didn't wait to hear more. He ran down the stairs, Emma in his arms, out through the broken back door, into the car, engine roaring to life. As they sped away, Michael's phone rang. "Unknown number," he answered. "Hands free." "What?" A woman's voice, barely above a whisper. "Mr. Thompson, I know where Jessica is, but we need to talk. Alone. Richard is watching me." The line went dead. Michael's phone immediately rang again, same unknown number. He answered. Different voice, female. Clearer. "Meet me at Harbor Warehouse, Pier 7, 10 a.m. Come alone. If you bring police, she dies." Click. Michael checked the clock, 8:47 a.m. 73 minutes. Emma's voice came from the back seat, small and terrified. "Mr. Thompson, what if it's a trap?" Michael stared at the road ahead, knuckles white on the steering wheel. Because it absolutely was a trap. But what choice did he have? Michael dropped Emma at his mansion, pulling Maria aside. "If I don't call within 2 hours, send police to Pier 7 Harbor Warehouse District." Maria's eyes widened. "Mr. Thompson, you can't." "I can and I will." Emma clung to his hand. "Don't leave me. Last time Mommy left, she never came back." Michael knelt to her eye level. "I will come back. With your mother. I promise." He left his personal security details number with Maria, then drove alone through Boston's industrial waterfront. The harbor appeared through sheets of falling snow, abandoned warehouses, rusted shipping containers. A ghost town on Sunday morning. Pier 7's warehouse loomed ahead, a corrugated metal structure with broken windows. One door hung partially open. Michael parked 50 meters away, scanning for movement. Nothing. He checked his pocket of the pepper spray he'd grabbed from his car's glove box. Not much of a weapon, but something. 9:58 a.m. He approached the warehouse, boots crunching through snow, pushed the door wider. "Hello." His voice echoed in the cavernous space. Dim light filtered through holes in the roof. Old machinery cast long shadows. "Mr. Thompson." A woman stepped from behind a stack of pallets, mid-30s, wearing a Thompson Tower janitorial uniform. Her face showed fresh bruises, one eye swollen, lips split. "Who are you?" "Sarah Miller." She kept her distance, hands visible, trembling. "I work with Jessica. Same shift, same floor." Michael's hand stayed near the pepper spray. "You called me." "Why?" "Because I can't live with myself anymore." Sarah's voice cracked. "Friday night, Jessica and I were cleaning B3 together, around 11:30. We saw Mr. Hayes and two men moving boxes from the storage area to the executive elevator. Jessica thought it was weird. Why would the COO be there that late, doing manual labor? Go on. She took a photo with her phone, just to ask questions later, you know. But Hayes saw the flash. Sarah touched her bruised cheek. He went crazy. Started chasing us. Jessica yelled for me to run, said, "If I don't make it, take care of Emma." I ran. I'm a coward. I ran and left her. Sarah began crying, shoulders shaking. I heard her screaming from B3 as I got in the elevator. Then the doors closed and I left. I left her there. Michael stepped closer. "Why didn't you call the police immediately?" "Hayes found me Saturday morning, outside my apartment. He had photos of my son, my 12-year-old boy, walking home from school. He said if I talked, my son would have an accident." What was I supposed to do? "But you're talking now." "Because I saw the news this morning. Little Emma Carter, looking for her mother. That poor baby. And I thought, what if it was my son? What if someone had information that could save him?" And they stayed silent. Sarah wiped her eyes. "I can't let Jessica die because I'm scared." Michael studied her face. The bruises looked real. The fear in her eyes seemed genuine. But something nagged at him. "If Hayes threatened you, how are you here now?" "He doesn't know. I told my neighbor I was going to my sister's. He's probably still watching my apartment." Sarah reached into her pocket. Michael tensed, hand on the pepper spray. She pulled out a key, a physical key, brass, with a B3 tag. "Jessica gave me this 3 weeks ago. She said if anything ever happened to her, I should give it to someone we could trust. It's a backup key to B3. Works on the manual lock override security protocol from before they upgraded to digital." Hope surged through Michael's chest. "This can get us into B3. "Yes. But there's more." Sarah unfolded a piece of paper. "Jessica left this in her locker. Told me to grab it if she didn't come back." Michael read the note. Written in hurried handwriting, evidence in locker 23B. Break room. B3. "If I disappear, someone needs to see this. J.C." She documented everything, Sarah said. Photos, recordings, copies of the fraud documents, everything Hayes did. It's all in that locker. Michael gripped the key. Finally, a way forward. "When can we access B3? 2 p.m. today. The security shift changes at 2. There's a 15-minute window when the new guard is doing perimeter checks and the old guard has already left. We can slip in through the freight entrance, fewer cameras. Michael shook his head. I'm not putting you in danger. You need me. I know the camera blind spots. I know which hallways to avoid. And I have the employee access codes for the freight elevator. Sarah met his eyes. Let me help fix what I broke. Please. Michael considered. Every instinct screamed this could be another trap. But what other option did he have? The key was real. He could see the Thompson Tower security logo stamped on it. The handwritten note matched what Emma had said about her mother. And they were running out of time. He checked his watch, 10:15 a.m. Jessica had been without insulin for 52 hours. Medical websites said 72 hours was the critical threshold. 20 hours left. Okay, Michael said. 2 p.m., Thompson Tower freight entrance. But if this is a trap... It's not. I swear on my son's life. Sarah pulled out her phone, showing him a photo. A boy with Sarah's eyes, wearing a soccer uniform, grinning at the camera. This is why I'm doing this. Because Emma deserves her mother, just like my Jacob deserves his. The photo seemed to seal it. Michael nodded. Thank you. Don't thank me. Just save her. They parted ways. Michael drove back to his mansion, mind racing with the plan. Get medical supplies, insulin, a doctor on standby. At 2 p.m., they'd access B3, find the evidence locker, and most importantly, find Jessica, alive. She had to be alive. He arrived home at 11:30 a.m. Emma rushed to him. Did you find Mommy? Soon, sweetheart. Very soon. He held her close. By tonight. Your mom will be safe. For the first time in 48 hours, he believed it. The next hours crawled. Michael changed into dark, practical clothing, packed a first aid kit, had his assistant coordinate an ambulance to be on standby 3 blocks from Thompson Tower, close enough to respond fast, far enough to avoid suspicion. 1:45 p.m. Time to go. He hugged Emma one more time. Stay with Maria. I'll call you the second I have your mom. The drive to Thompson Tower took 12 minutes. Michael parked in the underground garage, walking to the freight entrance as instructed. Sarah was already there, wearing her janitorial uniform, looking nervous but determined. Ready? She asked. Michael held up the key. Let's end this. They entered through the freight dock, Sarah swiping her employee card. The elevator descended B1, B2, B3. The doors opened to a dimly lit hallway. Concrete floors, exposed pipes. The hum of HVAC systems. Sarah led the way, moving confidently through the corridors. The break room is through here. Locker 23B should have everything. They walked past storage areas filled with archived files, old office equipment, boxes stacked to the ceiling. The break room appeared ahead, a small space with lockers, a table, a broken coffee maker. Sarah pointed. There, locker 23B. Michael inserted the key into locker 23. It opened smoothly. Empty. Completely empty. Except for a small piece of paper taped inside looking for evidence. Too late. The lights went out, complete darkness. Then a voice crackled over the PA system, echoing through B3. Welcome to my trap, Mr. Thompson. Richard Hayes. Michael spun toward Sarah, pulling out his phone for light. She stood 10 feet away, arms crossed, no longer trembling, smiling. Sorry, Sarah said, her voice completely different now, colder, amused. But $100,000 is $100,000. The lights snapped back on, fluorescent and harsh. Richard Hayes stepped from behind a support column, flanked by two men built like bodyguards. Sarah moved to stand beside him, her bruised face suddenly looking theatrical under the bright light. Makeup. The bruises were makeup. "You rich people," Richard said, circling Michael slowly. "Always think you can play hero." Michael's hand went to his pocket of the pepper spray. One of the bodyguards was faster, grabbing his arm, twisting it behind his back. The canister clattered to the floor. "I've been planning this for 6 months," Richard continued. "Project Phoenix isn't just about winning contracts, Thompson. It's about building something bigger than your little empire. And Jessica Carter." He gestured toward the shadows at the back of the break room. "She was just an inconvenient witness." The second bodyguard pulled back a curtain. Jessica sat tied to a chair, duct tape across her mouth, hands bound behind her. Her skin was pale gray, her eyes half closed, head lolling to one side. Barely conscious. Michael lunged forward. The bodyguards held him fast. "Jessica." He struggled against their grip. "Let her go. Hayes, this is between you and me." "Is it, though?" Richard pulled up a chair, sitting casually. "See, Sarah here told you a nice story. Scared colleague, threatened mother. Very touching. How much of it did you believe?" Sarah laughed a cold, sharp sound. "All of it, apparently. The bruises were a nice touch. Weren't they? Learned that from a makeup tutorial." "And the son?" She pulled out her phone, showing the soccer photo again. Stock image, Google, happy kid playing soccer. Third result. Michael's stomach turned. "You were working with him the whole time." 3 years, actually," Sarah said. Richard needed someone on the inside. Someone who could move around the building unnoticed. A janitor is invisible. You know, we see everything. Richard stood, pacing. "Jessica saw me moving documents Friday night. Not boxes documents. Contracts for Project Phoenix that I couldn't risk being in the digital system. She had the bad judgment to take a photo." He pulled out a phone, Jessica's phone. Already wiped, of course. But she'd seen too much. "So you locked her in the basement," Michael said through gritted teeth. "Let her suffer without insulin. I'm not a murderer, Thompson. I'm a businessman. Jessica just needs to stay quiet until tomorrow morning. 9 a.m. The board meets. Project Phoenix gets finalized. Money transfers. And then..." He shrugged. "Then maybe I call an ambulance. Maybe I don't. Depends on my mood." Michael looked at Jessica. Her breathing was shallow, irregular. She was dying. Right now, in front of him. She was dying. "Richard, please. She needs medical attention immediately. I'll give you anything money, resignation, the whole damn company." "Oh, I'm already taking the company?" Richard opened a laptop on the break room table, turning it toward Michael. "Project Phoenix isn't what you think. Look closely." The screen showed contracts, but not for construction or technology. Shipping manifests, customs documents, all falsified. All using Thompson Industries as a legitimate front. For weapons. Arms trafficking. Michael breathed. $500 million over 3 years. Richard said, "Your company has been moving military-grade equipment to 6 countries. All completely legal on paper. Thanks to our friends in procurement. 50 million was just the first shipment. You used my company. Your company. Richard laughed. You just sign papers and give speeches. Thompson, I run operations. And over the past year, I've been buying loyalty. 40% of your board is already in my pocket. Several major shareholders. When you die unfortunate intruder accident during a break-in, I'll have controlling interest. Thompson Industries becomes Hayes International. Michael's blood ran cold. When I die. Sarah pulled a handgun from her jacket. Kneel. Hands behind your head. The bodyguards released him. Michael slowly dropped to his knees, hands raised. We'll make it clean, Richard said. You broke into my house this morning. We have that on camera. Then you broke into your own building. Assaulted security personnel. Sarah here will testify she tried to stop you. And I acted in self-defense. Corporate espionage gone wrong. Very tragic. Jessica tried to move in her chair, making a muffled sound behind the tape. Her eyes found Michael's apologetic, desperate. Michael's phone rang in his pocket. The bodyguard pulled it out. The screen showed Emma calling. Ah, the little girl? Richard said. Answer it. Speaker mode. The bodyguard pressed accept, held the phone out. Mr. Thompson. Emma's voice trembled. Are you okay? You promised to come back, but it's been so long, and I'm scared. Michael kept his voice steady. Emma, sweetheart, I'm fine. I'll be home soon. You're lying. Emma was crying now. I can hear it. I can hear bad people in the background. Is Mommy there? Is she okay? Richard took the phone. Hello, Emma. This is Mr. Hayes. We met before I managed your mother's workplace. Where's my mommy? She's right here. Want to say goodbye? What? No. Give her back. Give my mommy back. Richard held the phone near Jessica's face. Say something to your daughter. He ripped the tape partially off her mouth. Jessica's voice was barely a whisper. Slurred. Ma, baby, Mommy loves you. So much. Mommy, no, don't leave me. Emma's screams tore through the phone. Please. Jessica gasped. She's just a baby. Please don't hurt. Richard slapped the tape back over her mouth, ended the call, and dropped the phone. His heel came down hard, grinding it into the concrete until the screen shattered. No more rescue calls. No more hope. Michael stared at the destroyed phone. Emma's cries still echoed in his ears. Everything had been stripped away. The evidence destroyed. The phone broken. Jessica dying. Right there. Insulin gone. Maybe hours left. Maybe less. Emma traumatized, thinking her mother's last words were goodbye, and he was on his knees with a gun to his head. Any last words? Richard asked. Michael looked at Jessica one more time. Her eyes were closing. Her head dropped forward. Then he looked up at the ceiling. At the security camera mounted in the corner, its red light glowing. The same cameras Richard claimed to have wiped. But that light was on. Actually, Michael said quietly, I do have something to say. He exploded upward, driving his shoulder into the nearest bodyguard's stomach. The man stumbled back, and Michael grabbed for the gun at his waist. His fingers closed around metal. He yanked it free, rolled to the side as Sarah fired. The bullet sparked off the concrete where he'd been. Michael came up behind a row of lockers, heart hammering. He checked the gun a 9mm, 3 rounds in the magazine. 3 bullets, 4 enemies. Really, Richard's voice echoed. You're going to shoot your way out. Footsteps coming from both sides. They were flanking him. Michael ran deeper into B3, into the maze of storage shelves. Another shot rang out, punching through a filing cabinet beside his head. Documents exploded into the air. He ducked around a corner, pressed his back against cold concrete, checked his watch, 2:47 p.m. No phone, no backup. No way to call the ambulance waiting 3 blocks away. Jessica had maybe 12 hours left, maybe less. And he was trapped in a basement with killers. Michael closed his eyes, thinking of Emma, of his promise, of the mother who'd raised him alone, who died while her boss stepped over her unconscious body. He whispered to the empty air, "I'm sorry, Emma. I might break my promise." Then he looked up again at that camera, its red light steady and unblinking in the darkness. If anyone was watching, if anyone in the world could see this, they'd know the truth. But as the footsteps closed in around him, Michael realized the cruelest truth of all. No one was watching. No one was coming. He was alone. Michael crouched behind a filing cabinet, listening. 3 sets of footsteps approaching from different directions. He had 3 bullets. 4 people hunting him. The math didn't work. A shadow moved to his left. He raised the gun, hands steady despite the adrenaline. The first bodyguard rounded the corner. Michael fired. The shot echoed deafeningly in the concrete space. The man grabbed his shoulder, falling backward with a grunt, not dead, but down. 2 bullets left. Over there. Sarah's voice. Michael ran deeper into the storage maze. Past shelves stacked with decades of corporate records. His foot caught on something, he stumbled, crashed into a metal shelf. Papers rained down around him. The second bodyguard appeared, weapon drawn. Michael fired twice in rapid succession. 1 shot hit the man's leg. He collapsed, cursing. The gun clicked empty. Sarah emerged from behind a shelf. Her weapon trained on him. "Drop it." Michael threw the useless gun aside. She approached cautiously, then kicked him hard in the ribs. He doubled over, gasping. "You're more trouble than you're worth," Sarah said. But before she could fire, Michael grabbed a steel filing drawer, yanking it open and swinging it into her. The heavy drawer caught her arm. The gun flew from her hand, skittering across the floor. Michael lunged for it. Sarah tackled him from behind. They hit the concrete hard, struggling. She was smaller but faster. Landing a punch to his already bruised ribs, he shoved her off, scrambled to his feet, didn't wait to fight more, ran. Back toward the break room, toward Jessica. He burst through the doorway. Jessica was still tied to the chair, head hanging forward, unconscious, or worse. Michael fumbled with the ropes binding her wrists. "Jessica, stay with me, please." Her eyes fluttered, barely open. Recognition flickered. "My, Chael. I'm getting you out, I promise." Then Richard's voice from the doorway, touching, really. Michael turned. Richard stood there holding a small medical kit. He opened it, revealing a single insulin vial and syringe. "Her life-saving medicine," Richard said. "Right here." Hope surged in Michael's chest. "Give it to her. Please, I'll do anything." Richard held the vial up to the light, examining it. Then, smiling, he dropped it. The glass shattered on the concrete floor. Clear liquid spread across the ground, mixing with dust and grime. Oops. Michael felt something break inside him. "You monster. You monster." He charged at Richard, but Sarah appeared. striking him across the back of the head with something hard. Michael's vision blurred. He fell to his knees. Richard crouched beside him. Now here's what's going to happen. I'm leaving. Sarah and our wounded friends are leaving. You and Jessica are staying here. By tomorrow morning, when the board meeting starts, she'll be dead from medical neglect. You'll be found as an intruder who assaulted my people. Self-defense. Clean and simple. The police will find exactly what I tell them to find. Richard stood. Thompson Industries becomes mine. Project Phoenix proceeds. And little Emma. He smiled. Foster care has a long waiting list. Sarah pulled Michael's arms behind his back, zip-tying his wrists together. Richard walked to Jessica, checking her pulse. Weak, thready. She's got maybe 6, 7 hours. Less if we're lucky. He pulled out a phone, a burner. Not his regular cell, and dialed. One more thing before we go. He hit speaker. After 3 rings, Maria answered. Hello, this is Richard Hayes. I need to speak with Emma. Mr. Hayes, how did you get this? Put her on, now. Rustling. Then Emma's small voice. Hello. Emma, sweetheart, I have your mother here. Want to talk to her? Richard held the phone near Jessica's face, ripping the tape from her mouth again. Emma, Jessica whispered, each word seeming to take all her strength. Baby, Mommy is so sorry. I tried to be strong. Mommy, where are you? Come home. Please come home. I can't. Listen to me. You are the best thing that ever happened to me. You are so loved. Emma was sobbing. No, don't say goodbye, Mommy. Please, be brave, my sweet girl. Be kind. Tell Mr. Thompson it's not his fault. Michael, still on his knees, felt tears streaming down his face. Jessica, don't give up. Richard ended the call, pocketed the phone. There. Now everyone suffers. He turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Thompson, that camera up there. He pointed at the ceiling. I disabled the wireless feed Friday night. It's recording to local storage, which I'll wipe tomorrow. So yes, there's video of you assaulting my people. Perfect evidence. Richard, Sarah, and the 2 wounded bodyguards limped toward the exit. The heavy door clanged shut behind them. A lock engaged with a metallic click. Most of the lights went out, leaving only dim emergency lighting. Silence. Michael struggled against the zip ties, but they held firm. After minutes of pulling, the plastic cut into his wrists, drawing blood. He gave up, shuffling on his knees to Jessica's chair. Her head had dropped forward again. Her breathing was so shallow, he had to put his ear close to her mouth to hear it. Jessica. Jessica. Look at me. Her eyes opened slightly, unfocused. I'm sorry, Michael whispered. I'm so sorry. I promised, Emma. I promised to save you. Jessica's lips moved. He leaned closer. Not your fault. Yes, it is. I should have been smarter. Should have seen Sarah was lying. Should have... Emma. Take care of Emma. You're going to take care of her yourself. You hear me? You're going to survive this. But even as he said it, he knew it was a lie. Without insulin, without medical help, Jessica had hours left. Maybe less. And Michael was bound, locked in a basement no one could access until Monday morning. By then, they'd both be dead. He looked up at the security camera in the corner. Its red light glowed steady, recording everything. Evidence that would damn him and free Richard. Michael's gaze dropped to the floor. The shattered insulin vial. The spilled medicine that could have saved her life. He rested his forehead against Jessica's knee, feeling the weight of total failure. Emma's face filled his mind. That 5-year-old girl who'd trusted him, who'd believed in him, who was about to become an orphan because he'd failed. His mother's face appeared next 20 years ago, lying in a hospital bed, dying of cancer she'd ignored because she couldn't afford treatment while putting him through college. Her last words, "Michael, promise me, when you have power, use it to help people. Don't become like them." Them. The bosses who'd exploited her. The system that had ground her down. And here he was, the billionaire CEO, powerless to save one woman and one child. Michael felt something in his pocket press against his leg. With his hands bound behind him, he couldn't reach it easily. But he twisted, fingers fumbling, his mother's Zippo lighter, the one she'd given him at 22, inscribed "To my son. Always fight for what's right." He'd carried it every day since her death, even though he didn't smoke. Michael's mind raced. Fire. Smoke. The building's fire suppression system. If he could trigger the alarms, the emergency protocols would unlock all doors automatically. Fire code required it. But he'd have to actually start a fire. In a room full of paper records, with Jessica unconscious beside him. It was insane. Dangerous. Could kill them both. But staying here meant certain death anyway. Michael looked at Jessica one more time, at her chest barely rising and falling. Then at the camera. "Still recording? Forgive me," he whispered, and made his choice. Michael worked the Zippo from his pocket with bound hands, fingers clumsy but determined. The metal felt warm, as if his mother's touch still lingered on it. Always fight for what's right. He looked around the break room, file boxes stacked against walls, paper records everywhere, decades of documents that would burn fast and hot. The fire suppression system would activate, sprinklers would engage, and most importantly, emergency exits would automatically unlock. But fire in an enclosed space with limited oxygen could mean smoke inhalation, carbon monoxide. Jessica was already barely breathing. Michael shuffled on his knees to the nearest stack of files, awkwardly flicking the lighter open with his thumb. The flame caught, small and blue. He held it to the corner of a document box. The paper caught immediately, curling black, then orange. Flames spread faster than he'd anticipated, climbing the stack. Within seconds, smoke began rising toward the ceiling. The fire alarm shrieked to life. Red lights flashed, the overhead sprinklers engaged, raining water down. But the flames had already spread to the next stack. The sprinklers weren't strong enough. The PA system crackled. "Fire detected. Level B3. Evacuate immediately." A mechanical click echoed through the basement. The door unlocked. Michael felt a surge of triumph until he realized the fire was spreading too fast. Much too fast. The dry paper records were acting like kindling, flames racing across the room. He had to get Jessica out now. Michael hobbled to her chair, trying to maneuver behind it to push it toward the door. But with his hands bound, he had no leverage. The chair barely moved. The smoke was getting thicker. He could feel it burning his lungs. Jessica. He shook her shoulder with his head. Wake up, we have to move. Her eyes opened, unfocused, confused. The smoke seemed to jolt her slightly more awake. Fire, she mumbled. I started it, to unlock the door. But we need to go. Now. Jessica tried to move her tied hands. Couldn't. Her head lolled forward again. Michael looked at the exit 20 feet away, then at the steel filing cabinet in the corner with the red light above it. The security server backup. Hard drives containing video footage of everything Richard had confessed. Without that footage, Richard would get away with it all, would still take Thompson Industries, would continue trafficking weapons, would eventually come after Emma to tie up loose ends. But getting the hard drives would take time. Time Jessica didn't have. The impossible choice crystallized in Michael's mind. Option A, drag Jessica to the exit now. Save her life. Let Richard destroy the evidence later. No proof. No justice. Emma spends her life looking over her shoulder. Option B. Break open the server cabinet first. Get the evidence. Guarantee Richard goes to prison. But Jessica might die from smoke inhalation while he's trying. Jessica coughed. The sound wet and desperate. Her breathing was getting worse. Michael looked at the flames, then at her pale face, then at the server cabinet. His mother's lighter still sat on the floor where he dropped it. The engraving caught the firelight. Always fight for what's right. And suddenly Michael understood. His mother hadn't meant choose right over wrong. She'd meant fight for it. Both, all of it. Don't accept the impossible choice. Make a third option. Jessica. He pressed his forehead against hers. I need you to listen. Can you hear me? A slight nod. I'm going to get you out. And I'm going to get the evidence. Both. I'm not leaving either behind. Her eyes found his. Even through the haze of pain and confusion, he saw her try to shake her head. Michael, too. Dangerous. I don't care. He used his shoulder to push her chair toward the exit, inch by inch. The wheels caught on debris. He pushed harder, muscles screaming. 15 feet, 10 feet, 5 feet. He maneuvered her through the doorway into the hallway, where the air was clearer. Set her down. Stay here. Breathe. I'll be right back. No, don't. But Michael was already running back into the break room. The heat hit him like a wall. Flames had engulfed half the space. The sprinklers were losing the battle. He reached the filing cabinet. Locked. Of course. Michael grabbed a metal chair with his bound hands, swung it awkwardly at the cabinet. Once. Twice. 3 times. The lock broke. The door swung open. Inside a server rack with 2 hard drives, blinking lights indicating active recording. Michael pulled them free. Cables snapping, tucked them awkwardly under his arm, turned to run back. But the path to the door was now blocked by flames. He'd waited too long. Smoke filled his lungs. He dropped to his knees, trying to find breathable air near the floor. Crawled forward. The hard drives clutched against his chest. Heat seared his skin. His vision blurred. Through the smoke, he could barely see the doorway. Jessica's silhouette slumped in her chair just outside. He crawled, inch by inch. His hand found the threshold. He pulled himself through, into the hallway. Collapsed beside Jessica's chair, coughing, gasping, but alive, and still holding the hard drives. Michael forced himself up, adrenaline overriding pain. He worked his bound hands under Jessica's arms. lifting. She was dead weight, barely conscious. "Come on, we're not dying down here." He half-dragged, half-carried her toward the emergency stairs. Up one flight. His muscles screamed. Up another. Jessica's feet dragged on the concrete steps. At the ground floor landing, he shouldered through the door, into the main lobby of Thompson Tower. The Sunday security guard was running toward them, radio in hand. "Mr. Thompson, what happened?" "Call ambulance, now." Michael lowered Jessica to the cold marble floor, finally letting the hard drives clatter beside them. He checked her breathing. Weak, irregular. Her skin was gray. The guard was already on the phone with 911. Female, approximately 30, unconscious, smoke inhalation, possibly diabetic emergency. Michael cradled Jessica's head. "Stay with me, please. Emma needs you. I need you." Her eyes didn't open. Then he heard it. The elevator dinged behind him. Michael turned. The elevator doors slid open. Richard Hayes stepped out, face twisted with rage. Sarah and the two bodyguards behind him, weapons drawn. "You just don't know when to die, do you?" Richard's hand went to his jacket. The security guard saw the guns, went pale, and ran for cover. Michael had no weapon, no strength left. Jessica was dying on the floor beside him. He positioned himself over her, shielding her body with his. Richard pulled out a pistol. "This ends now." Through the glass doors, Michael saw flashing red and blue lights approaching. Police sirens, getting closer. Who had called them? Michael hadn't. The security guard had called for an ambulance, not police. Richard saw the lights too. His finger tightened on the trigger. "Doesn't matter," he said. "Self-defense. You attacked us. Burned my records. I'll make it work." He aimed at Michael's chest. The sirens were right outside now. Richard squeezed the trigger. 10 minutes earlier, Emma sat in Michael's mansion, Maria hovering nervously beside her. After the call had ended, after hearing her mother's weak goodbye, Emma had collapsed into sobs. But then, something shifted in her small chest. A determination that felt too big for a 5-year-old body. "Miss Maria, I need your iPad." "Sweetie, maybe you should rest, please." Maria handed it over, watching as Emma's small fingers typed into Google Thompson Tower Boston address. Then Emma dialed 911. "Police and fire. What's your emergency?" "My mommy and Mr. Thompson are in danger." Emma's voice was steady now. Clear. "The Thompson Tower, the basement. There are bad men. Please hurry." "Sweetheart, what's your name?" "Emma Carter. I'm 5 years old." She took a breath. "And my mommy is dying. Please save her." Present moment. Richard's fingers squeezed the trigger. The lobby's glass doors exploded inward as 8 police officers stormed through. Weapons drawn. Police dropped the weapon. Richard's gun swung toward them. 4 officers fired simultaneously. Richard's body jerked backward, hitting the marble floor hard. His pistol skittered away across the polished stone. Sarah dropped her weapon immediately, hands raised. "Don't shoot, I surrender." The 2 bodyguards did the same, sinking to their knees. Officers swarmed them, zip ties appearing, weapons being kicked away and secured. An EMT team rushed through the doors seconds later, rolling a stretcher. "Female, critical condition," the lead paramedic shouted, dropping beside Jessica. "Diabetic emergency, prolonged ketoacidosis, smoke inhalation." They lifted her onto the stretcher with practiced efficiency. One paramedic started an IV line, another checked her vitals. BP 70/40. Pulse 30. She's crashing. Get her in the bus, now. They wheeled Jessica toward the waiting ambulance. Michael stumbled after them, his bound hand still behind his back. A police officer cut the zip ties. Blood rushed back into Michael's hands with painful intensity. "Sir, we need you to stay here for questioning." "I'm going with her." Michael climbed into the ambulance before anyone could stop him. The EMT didn't argue, too focused on Jessica. "Starting insulin drip. Push 1 milligram glucagon." Michael grabbed Jessica's hand as the ambulance lurched into motion, sirens wailing. Her skin was cold, clammy. Her eyes remained closed. "Jessica, you're getting help now. Stay with me." The EMT worked frantically, calling vitals into his radio. "En route to Mass General, ETA 4 minutes. Patient unresponsive." GS3. A detective appeared in the ambulance's open back door at a red light, jogging alongside. "Mr. Thompson, I need those hard drives. Evidence." Michael pulled them from where he'd tucked them in his jacket, handed them over. "Everything. Richard's confession, arms trafficking, all of it. We'll analyze immediately." The detective's expression was grim. "But, sir, you need to know breaking and entering, arson, assault. We can't ignore those charges just because. I know. I'll face whatever comes. Just catch him. Make sure Hayes goes away forever." The light changed. The ambulance accelerated, leaving the detective behind. Massachusetts General's emergency bay was organized chaos. They rushed Jessica inside, Michael following until a nurse stopped him. "Sir, you're injured too. Let us check you." Michael looked down. Burns on his arms, cuts on his wrists, blood soaking through his shirt from where he'd been hit. They pulled him into a separate bay, cleaning wounds, bandaging. He barely felt it. Through the curtain, he could hear the trauma team working on Jessica. Still no response. Increase the insulin drip. Blood glucose is dropping, but she's not waking. An hour passed. Michael sat in the hallway, head in his hands. Maria arrived with Emma. The little girl's face was streaked with tears, eyes red and swollen. "Mr. Thompson." She ran to him. "Where's Mommy?" "The doctors are helping her. Is she going to be okay?" Michael couldn't answer, didn't know how to lie to those hopeful eyes. A doctor emerged, pulling down his mask. "Mr. Thompson, I'm Dr. Rahman. Jessica is stable for now. But I need you to understand, she was without proper insulin for over 52 hours. There may be complications, brain damage, organ failure. We won't know until she wakes up." "If she wakes up," Michael said quietly. "If she wakes up," Dr. Rahman confirmed. They moved Jessica to ICU. Through the glass partition, Michael and Emma watched machines breathe for her, beep her heartbeat, track her vitals. Emma pressed her small hand against the glass. "Mommy, please wake up. I need you." 1 hour became 2, 2 became 3. Dr. Rahman returned, expression grave. "I'm sorry. The longer she remains unconscious, the worse the prognosis. If she doesn't wake in the next few hours, he didn't finish, didn't need to." The detective appeared in the hallway, holding a tablet. "Mr. Thompson, we recovered the footage. Richard Hayes' full confession. Arms trafficking worth $500 million, kidnapping, attempted murder. He and his accomplices will face decades in prison. Michael nodded numbly. Good. However, the DA is reviewing charges against you. Arson, breaking and entering. The circumstances are extenuating. But I don't care. Michael's eyes stayed on Jessica. As long as he pays for what he did. Emma had fallen asleep in Michael's lap, exhausted from crying. He stroked her hair gently. A nurse suddenly burst from the ICU, running toward the nursing station. Doctor patient in room 3, vitals changing. Dr. Rahman sprinted past them. Michael stood, Emma stirring in his arms. They rushed to the window. Inside. Jessica's monitor was beeping faster. Her fingers twitched. She's responding. A nurse called. Jessica's eyelids fluttered, opened slowly. Her eyes found the glass partition, found Emma's face pressed against it, found Michael standing behind her. Her lips moved. Ma, Emma sobbed with relief. Mommy, I'm here. Jessica tried to smile, tried to lift her hand. Then her eyes rolled back. The heart monitor's steady beep became erratic. Alarm bells shrieked. She's crashing, daughter. Dr. Rahman grabbed the crash cart. Code blue. Nurses flooded the room. Someone pulled a curtain, blocking the view. Emma screamed. No, Mommy, no. Michael held her tight as she fought to get through the door, to reach her mother, through the chaos of medical personnel. Michael caught one glimpse of the heart monitor. Flat line. The flat line shrieked for 3 eternal seconds. Does it? Rahman grabbed the defibrillator paddles. Clear. Jessica's body arched off the bed. The line stayed flat. Again, 200 joules. Clear, another shock, another terrible silence. Emma buried her face in Michael's chest, unable to watch. Come on, Dr. Rahman muttered. Come on, Jessica. Charging to 300. Wait. A nurse pointed at the monitor, a single blip, then another, then a rhythm weak but steady. Beep, 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 e. We got her, Dr. Rahman exhaled hard. Sinus rhythm. She's back. Inside the ICU. Jessica's chest rose and fell on its own. The ventilator beeped in sync with her heartbeat. Michael felt his knees weaken. He sat heavily in the hallway chair, still holding Emma. Is Mommy okay now? Emma whispered. The doctor saved her. 15 minutes later, Dr. Rahman emerged, pulling off his surgical cap. She's stable. Vitals are improving. The insulin is working. Her brain activity looks normal. No signs of permanent damage. Michael closed his eyes. Thank God. She's not out of the woods yet. But this is the best possible outcome, given what she's been through. Nader. Rahman smiled tiredly. You can see her in an hour. She should be conscious by then. When they were finally allowed in, Jessica's eyes were open. Tubes and wires surrounded her. But she was awake. Alive. Emma climbed carefully onto the bed. Mommy. Baby. Jessica's voice was hoarse but clear. My sweet baby girl. They held each other, both crying. Michael stood back, giving them space. But Jessica reached out her other hand toward him. Michael, you saved my life. You saved yourself. You're the strongest person I know. We saved each other. Jessica said softly. 3 days later, Jessica had been moved from ICU to a regular recovery room. Her color had returned. She could sit up, eat solid food, smile without effort. Emma sat on the bed beside her. showing her drawings she'd made stick figures of the three of them holding hands. The television was on low. A news anchor's voice cut through. Breaking news in the Thompson Industries corruption scandal. Former COO Richard Hayes and 3 accomplices were formally charged today with kidnapping, attempted murder, and international arms trafficking valued at over $500 million. Footage showed Richard in an orange jumpsuit, hands cuffed, being led into court. His face was bruised from the police shooting, his expression empty. The anchor continued. Hayes allegedly used Thompson Industries as a front for illegal weapons shipments to 6 countries. The investigation also revealed corporate fraud, falsified government contracts, and the imprisonment of janitor Jessica Carter, who discovered the scheme. The screen cut to a reporter. Legal analysts say Hayes faces a minimum of 25 years in federal prison. His co-conspirators, including former employee Sarah Miller, are cooperating with prosecutors in exchange for reduced sentences. Emma pointed at the TV. "That's the bad man who hurt you, Mommy." Jessica nodded. "He can't hurt anyone anymore." Michael, sitting in the corner, felt a weight lift from his chest. Justice. Finally. A knock at the door. 2 detectives entered. "Mrs. Carter, Mr. Thompson, we wanted to update you. The DA has decided not to file charges against you. Mr. Thompson, given the extraordinary circumstances exposing a major criminal enterprise, saving a life, they've determined your actions were justifiable." Michael nodded. "And Hayes? Full confession on the hard drive footage? Combined with the physical evidence and witness testimony, it's airtight. He'll spend the rest of his life in prison. The other 2 companies involved in Project Phoenix are under investigation. We've already prevented 3 illegal shipments." After they left, Jessica looked at Michael. "You risked everything. Your company, your freedom, your life. Why?" Michael was quiet for a long moment. Then he sat on the edge of the bed. 20 years ago, my mother worked 3 jobs to put me through college. One of them was cleaning offices at night, just like you." Emma's eyes widened. "Really? Really?" She was exhausted all the time. Never complained. Then one night, she collapsed at work from a heart attack. Her supervisor, he saw her lying there and stepped over her body, kept walking, told other employees to deal with it later. Jessica's hand covered her mouth. By the time someone called an ambulance, it was too late. She died alone in that hallway. Michael's voice cracked. "I was 22, and I promised at her funeral that if I ever had power, I would never be that person. I would never step over someone in need." He looked at Emma. "When I saw you crying at my gate, I saw myself, I saw my mother, and I knew I had to help, not because it was convenient, because it was right." Jessica pulled him into a hug. Emma joined, wrapping her small arms around both of them. "You're a good man, Michael Thompson," Jessica whispered. Michael pulled an envelope from his jacket. "I have something for you. When you're ready." Jessica opened it. Inside was a job offer letter. Jessica Carter, Director of Employee Welfare, Thompson Industries. Salary $120,000 a year, full benefits, education fund for dependents. Jessica shook her head, tears forming. "Michael, this is too much. It's not enough. You exposed corruption. You protected others. You deserve this." and I need someone I trust to help rebuild the company culture. Make sure what happened to you and what happened to my mother never happens again. But You're not just anything. You're a hero. Say yes." Jessica looked at Emma, who nodded enthusiastically. "Say yes, Mommy." "Okay." Jessica smiled. "Yes." 1 week later, Michael pulled up to the hospital discharge area. Jessica sat in a wheelchair, Emma bouncing beside her, both bundled in new winter coats Michael had bought. "Ready to go home?" Michael asked. More than ready. But he didn't drive toward their old apartment. Instead, he headed across the city to Jamaica Plain. "Michael, where are we?" He pulled up in front of a 3-story townhouse with a small yard. A sold sign stood in front. Jessica stared. "What is this?" "Your new home. 3 bedrooms. Safe neighborhood. Good schools nearby." "Michael, I can't afford. It's a loan. You'll pay me back through your work." He handed her the keys. "Consider it an advance on your salary." Emma was already out of the car, running to the front door. "Mommy, there's a swing in the backyard." Jessica turned to Michael, eyes shining. "Why are you doing all this?" "Because Emma needs stability. Because you deserve safety. And because—" He paused. "Because you both changed my life. You showed me what really matters." Jessica hugged him tight. "Thank you. For everything." Inside, Emma ran from room to room, her laughter echoing through the empty house. "My own room, and there's a yard, and look, Mommy, the kitchen is huge." Jessica watched her daughter's joy, tears streaming down her face, happy tears. This time, Michael stood in the doorway, watching them both. For the first time in 20 years since his mother's death, he felt like he'd kept his promise. To always fight for what's right, and to never step over someone in need. 6 months passed like a dream. On Christmas Eve, snow fell gently over Boston. Thompson Tower's lobby sparkled with lights as employees gathered for the annual holiday party. But this year felt different. Michael stood on the stage, Jessica beside him in a red dress, Emma twirling in her white Christmas outfit. 6 months ago, this company almost fell to corruption, Michael said to the assembled crowd. But we rebuilt, not because of profit margins or quarterly reports, because of people like Jessica Carter, who had the courage to stand up for truth. Applause filled the lobby. Michael had transformed Thompson Industries. The Carter Employee Protection Fund now helped 47 families. Anonymous ethics hotlines empowered workers to speak safely. Wages increased across all levels. But the real change happened in Michael's heart. That evening, at Jessica's townhouse, Michael knelt by the fireplace where Emma was hanging stockings. "Emma, can I ask you something important?" She nodded, eyes bright. "Would it be okay if I became part of your family? Officially?" Emma threw her arms around him. "I always wanted a daddy," Jessica, watching from the doorway, smiled through tears. True wealth isn't measured in dollars. It's measured in lives touched, love given, and promises kept. Have you ever felt invisible, like the world dismissed your suffering and the way police dismissed Emma's plea for help? Share your story below.